Hey everybody, this is to Agha Ali, who is an entry or blogger with a publication I had never heard of until now called Digital Information World. And Agha took my Twitter exchange with my longtime friend, really, Danny Sullivan, who's now with and has been with Google for some time now, regarding a really major problem. And Agha, I have to say, I'm really disappointed in your lack of thoroughness, to say the least, regarding reporting on this. You didn't contact me. You took my tweets. I guess you thought you were clever in doing that, but even then, you didn't take the entire conversation. You just took part of it, and so by doing that, you didn't correctly report what happened. Okay, and you didn't ask me for clarification to make sure you understood what I was getting at. You assumed you did. You didn't. You really screwed it up, okay? The problem is enormous. It gets to a practice that Facebook has. You didn't mention Facebook, but I did. Facebook has a practice of not appropriately treating Google videos in search as it does its own. Now, if your response cognitively is, well, because Facebook, you immediately justify Facebook's action. Don't do that. Okay? Because in your own article, you turned around and basically said, oh, Google's great because they want you to find information from all throughout the internet. First of all, that shows you really don't know what's happening. That's a nice cover that Danny was putting out there. But the truth of the matter is that Google has been attacked in court for favoring its own platforms, whereas Facebook has not. That is the real problem. And Google has not, in my assertion, appropriately fought these accusations, particularly coming from the European Union, and has been content to sort of go along to get along and make adjustments, and in so doing, subordinate its responsibility to its own content creators, those people who are YouTube partners, which YouTube now calls creators. Google owns YouTube. Meanwhile, Facebook has gone on a tear, making inroads into the video space that was once dominated singularly by YouTube. All of this impacts YouTube partners and how much money they make. It gets into, and I put this in a link to Danny that you didn't even bother to post. And I'm going to assume you saw it and didn't post it, which is really awful. Because I sent a link to him about a recent last year visit that I took to a YouTube meetup in Atlanta, where YouTube creators gathered together. Toward the end of that gathering, there were a number of people who had questions of the YouTube staff that came out from the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, where I live, to put on the event strictly about the monetization problems they were having, widespread. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that if your YouTube videos are seen less and less in the area where they're supposed to be seen videos, then there's less opportunity to make views and therefore dollars from the videos that appear on search and video, because again, they're not there much. In the past, that wasn't the case. Now, what occupies that space, and which you didn't report, are, among other things, not so much videos from the universe, but I also specifically noted schema code. And I said that there are pages that purport to be video pages with schema code, and you actually look at the page and there's no video on them. It's just a trick, okay? That's rampant. And yet Google allows it. All of this factors into the real truth that goes beyond the Google ad apocalypse, the idea that advertisers have been pulling their monies from Google. I'm not saying that hasn't happened, but I'm explaining that the problem in terms of revenue generation opportunities for YouTube partners from search has been curtailed. Maybe maybe it's a reason of, here I'm speculating, a desire to reduce YouTube's server load to save money. You have to remember that at the end of the day, it's still a gigantic website. I run 98 blogs, including several WordPress blogs, self-hosted. So I understand the need to lighten traffic load in order to maintain performance. But if that's the case, it would be nice if Google told us rather than having to guess. But the simple fact of the matter is, be it for that reason or for some perhaps reason that goes into some idea that they're saving journalism, whatever the case, Google has allowed schema-coded video pages to dominate in search over YouTube. So when you click on video, you're not really getting video. And then, of course, we have Facebook and Twitter that have both entered that space. That's not okay. Okay? What Danny presented was legal cover. If he knows his job as well as I hope he does, he realizes that what he quoted was the result, because it has been modified over the years. And I go back to 1998 with Google, as a result of legal challenges. So again, when you go out and report what you did a disservice to a lot of people. You probably thought you were being cute in putting me out there. I'm used to being in public. Okay? This is also making you public in a sense, but it's not. There are a lot of people who are trying to figure out how YouTube works because they're looking for incomes, because this overarching economy doesn't produce as many good income producing opportunities as it is purported to be out there. We have a 35% underemployment rate. That's why you have people working gig economies, jobs like with Uber and Lyft and other organizations to cobble together engagements to make ends meet. But those of us who figured out how to multiply our revenue generation products via our web platforms are in better shape. But that does not speak for everybody. So you have a lot of people on YouTube who at one point were doing really well, like, for example, Julia Steele, who just stopped. I think her last video was 5 months ago and counting. And I can produce a laundry list of people who just sort of given up on YouTube. Is YouTube trying to basically choke them out of the system by this way? I don't know. But it's a question to ask, okay? There's a reason not explained for these changes. But what I go back to is what you missed. Facebook discriminates against YouTube videos. Instagram big time discriminates against YouTube videos, but you don't attack them. But you make it okay for Google to do that. It's not okay. And it's not an equal playing field either. So in all this is my intent to defend YouTube partners, YouTube creators, and make sure that there is at least one voice out there. I would prefer many more, that's saying, hey, you know what? There's a problem and we need to fix it. When I'm go back to, and this is something else that you didn't report in one of my tweets, that I'm one of YouTube's first generation of partners. I started on YouTube 2006 April. I was made part. I was invited to be a partner by Mia Quiliano and Steve Grove in 2008. I go back that far. And so what I've seen is a change from the release of the first YouTube playbook, where it was suggested to us to make daily videos and follow trends, which is still the norm, as a way of earning revenue, as a way of helping tell the news. This was a YouTube mantra at the time. Also, the other YouTube mantra was that they wanted you to be able to quit your other job and do the act of making video blogs on Google as your job. Form a company around YouTube. And the good news is that the linchpin devices and tools on YouTube that allow one to do that, and I've used, are still there, and they're better than ever. That's the good news. But what is not good is this lack of having Google protect YouTube partners, since Google owns YouTube. Google must hold that responsibility, even if it means paying a fine to the EU, even if it means having us attack the EU in terms of content. We have the right to fight for our place in all this too. So, in closing, when you quote someone on Twitter, do what any other great media person does. Contact them. You didn't contact me at all. You made zero attempt to do so. Fortunately, because I review my own traffic on a regular daily basis, multiple times a day, I found your entry. And I'm responding to you directly. What you did was wrong.